Committee will come to order. The chair notes the presence of a quorum. Pursuant to committee rules, members of the committee may submit written opening statements for the record. I ask that members may revise and extend their remarks on the bills to be considered at this markup and have those remarks included in the record. Without objection, so ordered. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare recess of the committee at any time. Pursuant to Committee Rule 3I, the chair announces that he may postpone further proceedings today on the question of approving any measure or matter or adopting an amendment on which a recorded vote is ordered. Just for the record, I want everybody to know that Mr. Huffman and I still have a good working relationship, but due to a contentious water issue, we've decided to put some space between us today for this hearing. Yeah, it was. Or
Mr. Chair, was that raining on somebody's parade?
I guess it was water leak hitting Mr. Huffman's seat, and I guess we could call that a California water issue even.
I see the hand of LaMalfa.
Well, and that was, you're thinking like I'm thinking. And before we begin, I do want to take a moment to remember our friend and colleague, Doug LaMalfa. And, he was a world-class legislator and a world-class human. He was a friend and a colleague, and he cared deeply about his constituents. He cared deeply about the issues, and he cared deeply about other people. He's a fourth-generation Northern California rice farmer. If you don't know, Arkansas is the country's largest rice producer, and Doug and I were always having a debate on Arkansas rice versus California rice. And it was usually him that instigated it because he liked to find things to pick at you about and to joke around about. And California rice was one of those issues that we talked about a lot. But he had a lot of expertise, technical expertise in agriculture. He brought that to his service here in Congress and on the policy issues he worked on. He understood firsthand the risk and the challenges and how those things affected the lives of people who farmed here in America. Obituaries have rightly praised Doug as a voice for rural America in the West. Those of us who knew him personally will probably remember him for his friendship, his faith, his optimism, and his deep and abiding love for his country and for those he served. Again, all of our prayers are with Jill and the entire LaMalfa family. And Mr. Huffman, I recognize you if you'd like to make a statement.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Doug was my neighbor for many, many years. We represented adjacent districts, and we loved many of the same places, found ways to work together on things for these communities that we shared, despite our pretty profound political differences. And that was probably the thing I appreciate most about Doug, is he always kept his sense of humor, his humanity, and I think that's something we can all take from his legacy, that it's possible to just still be people, treat each other with respect and as fellow human beings, as neighbors, while we duke it out on our political differences. That's a great thing. And I look forward to being part of his memorial this weekend, where I'm sure I'll see several of you. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Would any other member wish to be recognized? Pete.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. I mean, I think Mr. Huffman said it well, in that we are going to miss him. We have our differences with our colleagues, but it's the respect that we really need to show each other. Sometimes the intense conversations, we lose that human touch. And Doug was certainly a friend of all of ours. He represented his district very, very well. And, he was a man of faith. He knows, and his family knows where he is today. But we're going to miss him. We're going to miss his leadership. And we're going to miss his work on the natural resources front. He was very respectful in his wishes and comments and in every conversation I had with him. And I just want to, let his family know that this committee is going to miss him dearly, and we are happy to have shared the experience with him. And I yield back.
Any other member? Celeste?
Yeah, I'll be really brief. Doug was one of my first friends here when I got here, and really made me feel special. And he understood something really important about this place, and that's that we all have titles, and so then that doesn't really distinguish any of us. But he knew something about everybody here. He knew something about your family or your state or what you cared about. And I've been really touched the last few days to see, with all the tributes to Doug, as effective as he was as a legislator, most people aren't talking about the bills he ran or his priorities in Congress. They're talking about how he made people feel. And I just want to make sure that that's one of the things that we all capture as we're memorializing Doug, that he had a gift for making people feel special, and that ended up being more important than any of the bills or the debates that happen in Congress. With that, I yield.
Yeah, I call him the big teddy bear because he was always welcoming. He'd give you a big hug. He was also about details, believe it or not. Sometimes I'll get excited about something, and he'll always come back to the details, going, now, what do you mean here? I want to do this. He was fascinating that way. And he's also a good patriot. He always, we are part of the Conservative Opportunity group, and he always had a question about where we're heading. Why are we heading that way? Where can we change? Are we looking at the other side? Are they right? Are we wrong? He always had that knack to him. And he's going to be sorely missed. He's a wonderful man. He's a wonderful father. God bless him.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Fulcher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I wore this tie today because this is part of the Doug LaMalfa uniform. He called it his Westie tie, and some people might know that this tie came from Chairman Westerman. However, we didn't know that at first. I thought he would call it his Westie tie because of the Western Caucus, but that's my understanding was his nickname for you, I believe. And so that's first and foremost. Doug was a friend, and I don't know the best way to define that, but in his case, he's one of those people that would offer of himself without expecting anything in return. And that's a pretty good definition of somebody you can call a friend, that I think. And his faith has been mentioned. I want to just share how I think that manifested itself to me. For those of you who've been around for a few years, you may recall that I used to have a bald head, and it wasn't by aesthetic design. There was a lot of chemotherapy involved with that. And there was a window of time where, quite frankly, I didn't know if I was coming back. But he engaged very faithfully and made sure that I knew he was praying for me on a routine basis. And he would kept saying, just think about that reelect because you're coming back. And that meant a lot at that time. And just the last thing I'll share is I had a nickname too, and that was Mr. Potato Head because of Idaho. And it wasn't Mr. Potato Head, it was Mr. Potato, because he wanted to make sure to communicate the appropriate title with that. And of course, in the spirit of Toy Story, I have to always respond with "Way to go, Idaho," because that's, if you've seen that movie, that's how that played out. But he's going to be dearly missed. I yield.
Mr. Hurd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first time I met Doug LaMalfa, I was a candidate running for office, and I was nervous and trying to make small talk with him. And I asked him what the PVI of his district was, basically the voter registration balance. And he said, "The what?" And I said, "The PVI." And he said, "Talk like a normal person, son. I have no idea what that means." And it was he was grouchy on the outside and a little bit curmudgeonly, but that was one of the things that made him so awesome and so lovable as a person. And I got to know him. He was a great mentor. He was a terrific leader on the Western Caucus, and also former chair of Indian and Insular Affairs. and I think he did that job admirably as well. And one thing he always impressed on me from that very first moment until all the way through his life was the importance of speaking plainly. And I think that's especially something that's important in this committee when we talk about the communities that we affect and in the lives that are impacted by the decisions we made in here, to speak plainly and to understand that responsibility that comes with that. And that's something that I think Doug did a great job of impressing on me and the rest of us, and he will definitely be missed. So we will miss you, Doug. And with that, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Any other members? Well, as we will continue to reflect on our friend and our colleague, we have a small token set up in his chair, and it's still hard to know that chair is empty and our friend's not going to be back in that chair. But let's take a moment of silence and remember our fondness for Doug and his family.